Hello, welcome to Petroleum Software online course, and this is Mr. Renatus Mahuyu as the course instructor. As we have been introducing and advertising on social medias about the coming course about Petroleum Software online course, so this is our first class where we are going to discuss a lot about petroleum softwares. And first software we have been and which I'm going to introduce to you is about Petrel. So we are going to discuss and to know how to use Petrel, and this course where it's concerning about Petrel. So we are going to do something called reservoir modeling. So petroleum software is the training name which is going to be conducted, and the course name is reservoir modeling. So the model code is PESOT0101. So the one who is going to host this course, the one who is going to instruct this course is Mr. Renatus Mahuyu, as I've said, and our email address is raymahuyu@yahoo.com, as you can see here. And also this will be our website page. So if you have any question, or if you want to do any further, you need to get any further information, so you just go and visit this website page. So if you have any question or any information you want to ask from us, just call this number which is below here. So just call this number here below, so you can get me direct, or you can use WhatsApp message. So welcome everybody, and we are going to use 15 hours in this course. So these 15 hours will be divided according to the days number, so it will not be consecutive, but just make sure that you have already paid for this course. And for those who have registered within the promotion days, so just register for and pay for that amount of money which have been charged and which have been instructed in the registration form. So now, by beginning, I want just to give you some little bit introduction about this course and the recommended course materials are my lecture notes and slides. Also, you need to have some notes or books from Petroleum George as an additional notes, and timetable for this course. Extremely course is going to begin from the 1st of June, which is today, 2018, to 22 June 2018. So our training activity will include individual practice, where you'll be looking and you'll start our course through different videos which I'll be recording and post them in our website. And also we are going to have a final online practice where it will be face-to-face interaction. So we are going to use several software. So the first software as I have introduced to you, which is called join.me. So we are going to use that one as direct interaction with video conferencing between me and you. Also for those who are outside our country, outside Tanzania, so we're going to use Skype. So it will just choose any of these two software for convenience purpose between you and me. So this will be how we are going to go through our course. So background knowledge, which you need, or recommended previous knowledge, you need to have an idea before doing reservoir modeling, before starting using Petrel. So you need to have an idea about basic geological, such as mineralogy and sedimentology. So you need to have a basic reservoir concept, such as porosity, permeability, water saturation. Also you need to have structural basin, stratigraphic, and the positional environment. So we are going to have different books which you need to learn from different references, and all these materials will be obtained or will be available into our website or our online drive. So welcome for this course, and be free to register and to be in this course. So now let's begin with our first lecture. Our first lecture, I'm going to introduce first about reservoir. So what is reservoir? And when we say reservoir, what come up to your mind first? So as if you are studying petroleum geology, you are a geologist, or if you are doing reservoir or petroleum engineer, I think everybody of you know already what is reservoir. Reservoir is a word which comes from reserve. So in petroleum, something to be called a reservoir, we mean it's a reserve of hydrocarbons. So in petroleum, most when we talk about petroleum issues, when we talk about petroleum, we mean we are talking about hydrocarbons, and the most common hydrocarbons which are available in petroleum causes, in petroleum studies, are oil and gas. So a reservoir, a potential reservoir is any log with void in which petroleum can be accumulated. So any log which have an ability of accommodating hydrocarbons or oil and gas, this is what we call a reservoir. So a reservoir is any log which has an ability, or it have an ability of accumulating hydrocarbons or petroleum. So it must be porous enough to be able to store commercial quantities of petroleum, and permeable enough for the petroleum to be able to flow toward the producing well. The most common reservoir rock are sandstone and carbonate. So these are the most common reservoirs. So we have said that a reservoir is any rock which has an ability of accommodating hydrocarbons. So this kind of rocks, the most common reservoir in the world are sandstone and carbonate. So I think everybody of you have that an idea. You have already known about this kind of reservoir. So as you can see here, this is an example of the field which show a reservoir. So as you can see, there is oil here and water. Also there is a gas. So this is one of the type of a reservoir rock. Also you can see this is a systematic representation of hydrocarbon deposit in a stratigraphy trap. So it's just a trap, when I say a trap, it have those kind of rock which have already accommodating the hydrocarbons. So inside this trap there is a reservoir rock which is porous. It have pores which accommodating this kind of hydrocarbons such as gas, oil and water. So oil and gas exist in pore structure or of rock. So you can see here, as you can see, this is a rock having pores. So inside those pores is where hydrocarbon can be accommodated. So I think everybody now you have a picture when we say something about a reservoir. Now every one of you know already what is a reservoir. So as you can see, this is one of the rock, a reservoir rock, which is sandstone rock. As you can see, this is the structure of it, and this is a real picture from sandstone rock. So now let's ask ourselves a question like how oil and gas deposits are found. So you can ask yourself like, how do these scientists or these petroleum specialists, expertise, how do they found the deposit of oil and gas? How do we know, or where do we find this kind of this reservoir? So the first thing we can acquire, or we can know that there is a deposit of oil and gas in the subsurface by doing different seismic technology. So as you can see here, for example, this is a seismic surveying vessel. So a seismic surveying vessel, which emit some energy waves which will go down under the earth, and then those kind of wave will go under the ground, and then it will deflect. They will be deflected back to the earth, and then this kind of wave will come back and will be its frequency or its energy will be recorded to something called geophones, which will be found under upper the earth. Like here, for example, as you can see, there is our coastal receiver, so they will receive the signal from the waves, the sound wave, which have been emitted down the sea. For example, this, you can see this is like a ship which have emitted some sound wave under the surface, so they are reflected back, and then they were recorded by acoustic receiver. So once these kind of waves are reflected back, they will be recorded by this they will be recorded here, and the acoustic receiver. So a receiver will record those kind of wave according to the intensity of the wave which are being reflected back. So this kind of wave will be manipulated in a computer, and then it will give out the graph, something like a graph or a picture of the ground. So people like petroleum geophysics will read this kind of wave, and then will read those kind of pictures, and then will know exactly what is within a certain range of those waves which have been reflected back. So application of seismic technology, this is very important. Important studies which can help us to know or to find like there is a deposit of oil and gas in the ground. So here is another example which shows a recording trunk. There is a vibrator trunk where there is energy source. Here, this is a vibrator trunk. So this vibrator trunk will emit some of the energy or some of the wave, and once this wave will go down the earth, it will reflect back to the earth, and you can see here there is geophones or receivers. This receiver will record all those energy which have been reflected back to the earth after it have been sent by a vibrator trunk. So once all these are recorded, it will be recorded to a recording trunk. This is a recording trunk, so it will record all the returning sound waves, and hence it will give us the feedback about how and what is there under the ground. So that is one of the methods which is being used in order to know where this oil and natural gas are found in the ground. So as we have said about a reservoir, also there is something called a trap. A trap is a structure which accommodate, which facilitate, or which prohibit the escaping of hydrocarbons. So we know that reservoir it can accommodate hydrocarbons or oil and gas. The function of a reservoir is just to accommodate it. It is a porous structure which accommodate these hydrocarbons. But once these hydrocarbons are accommodated, so there is a structure which prohibit those kind of hydrocarbons to escape away, to go away from a reservoir. So this kind of structure is what we call a trap. So a trap, we have several types of trap, but the most common, of course, we have anticline, as you can see, the first one here, this is anticline trap. As you can see, there is oil in this side also, and the second trap is called a fault trap. So these are just a structure which accommodate a structure which prohibit hydrocarbon from escaping or to undergo further migration. So our intention in this course is to a trap is the place where oil and gas are barred from further movement, as we can see here. Also, these are some of the example of trap. So there is fault trap and also there is the salt dome trap. So a trap formed when the buoyant force driving upward migration of hydrocarbon through a permeable rock cannot overcome the capillary force of a sealed medium. So generally we have more than the two types of trap. The first one, which is called a structural trap, and there is a stratigraphic trap, and also the further less more common hydrodynamic trap. So all these are the ones which are the structure which prohibit or ban the further movement of the hydrocarbons once they are in a reservoir. So hydrocarbon trap, as we have said, the first one, which is structure trap. The structure trap, this is formed as a result of tectonics movements. So structure trap are caused by structure features that are usually formed as a result of tectonic movement, as we are going to see the examples and picture of this structural trap you will see in the next slide. Also, there is stratigraphic trap. Stratigraphic trap are usually caused by change in log quality. So the stratigraphic trap, this is just a result of change in log qualities. And also there is a combination trap. So for the combination trap, you can just find that there is two or more than one type of trap and are common in petroleum reservoirs. So we just find that in a reservoir there is more than two or there is more than three kinds of trap. So as we have said, structured trap also it have been divided into three types. So the types of structured trap which is caused by tectonic movements, the first one is anticline, as I've showed you in the previous examples, and also there is a fault trap and there is a salt dome trap. So as you can see here, the structural hydrocarbon trap, we have here the anticline trap here. Also we have the fault trap, and we have salt dome. So you can see we have oil, and in the salt dome, all these are the structural trap. These are the types of structural trap. So for anticline, as I've explained to you, it's like this one, the structure. This is for anticline trap. So all these are just samples of trap in the structure. And here we can see it's a fault trap. So you just find a reservoir is found in this place, or in this place there is oil and gas, so it cannot move further since here there is a fault which we always ban the further movement of hydrocarbons. So it will be called a reservoir, but in a structural trap, which is called a fault trap. So that's for salt dome trap, a salt that has moved up through the earth, punching through the bending rock. Along the way, oil can come on to rest up against the impermeable salt, which makes salt an effective trap lock. So you can see this is an example of a salt dome trap. This is an example of a salt dome trap. As we have already seen all those kind of reservoir, what is reservoir, we already know about the meaning of reservoir. And now let's see the most important things which you need to know about a reservoir. We call it as a reservoir characteristics. What are the characteristics of a reservoir? So a reservoir should have accommodating or should have the following characteristics. A reservoir should have porosity. This is a very important data which is needed to be known once you want to examine a reservoir. So you need to know a porosity of a reservoir. Also, you need to know about permeability. Permeability is another parameter which is very essential for a reservoir. Once we are going to talk about reservoir modeling, so you need to know about this parameter. You need to have this data of permeability. So it's very important to know about permeability of the reservoir. Also, relative permeability. It's one of the important or essential parameters to be known. Also, a net to gross ratio and net pay. All these are the very important parameters to be known. Also, we need to know about water and oil saturation and the formation volume factor. So all these are the key important parameters to be known or to be known while we are doing reservoir modeling. So now, after this introduction, now we can just move up to our main topic, which is about reservoir modeling. So we are going to create a 3D geological model. We are going to create a model how a reservoir look like. So all these are the important data to be known by you as you want to be in this course. So now let's get started to how to create our 3D geological reservoir model. So I would like to thank you again for all who have registered to this course, and I promise you that this course is very essential for you as a petroleum expertise, since you're going to know a lot about reservoir modeling, and I'm sure you're not going to be the way you came to this course. So you're going to be more, and you're going to get a lot of skills and knowledge about doing reservoir modeling. This is very essential for you. So welcome, and let's get started to this course. Thank you. Okay, so building a 3D reservoir geological model. Building a geological model to examine different development plans for the respective field. So at first we need to know what is reservoir modeling. What is reservoir modeling? This refers to the process of transferring the available subsurface data and knowledge into a digital or computerized numerical representations of the surface, and is now considered as essential part of understanding and developing. So when we talk about reservoir modeling, we just talk about the transferring the available subsurface data. The subsurface data, what we are talking about, all data which we can say the outcrops data, from the well data. So all this data can be computerized together and can be used to make up a model, to create a model of our reservoir. So this is our intention. We are going to build up a 3D reservoir geological model. So we need to process or to transfer all the available subsurface data and our knowledge. Like, we need to have a knowledge about what we are going to build. We are going to build a reservoir, so we need to have a knowledge about what are the key essential parameter or parts we need to use when we are building a model. So we are going to use all this kind of data to create a model, a numerical representation of the subsurface, and now to consider and is now considered this reservoir modeling is now considered as an essential part of understanding and developing. So the objective of doing reservoir modeling, what are the main objectives? So the objective of doing this reservoir modeling is for calculations of the initial volume in place. So once you have created a model, you will be able to know the initial hydrocarbons, the initial volume of hydrocarbon in place. Also, optimization of drainage strategy for hydrocarbon fields. So it will be also, once we know how to we create or we build a reservoir model, it will help us to optimize the drainage strategy for hydrocarbons. So our main intention, or the main intention of any oil company, is to produce a lot of hydrocarbons, a lot of oil, a lot of gas. So in order to have a clear or an efficient way of producing all the available hydrocarbons which is in place, we need to have a model which will help us on how to do further or to drainage more the hydrocarbon in place. Also, so this is one of the importance or of the objective of creating a reservoir model. Also, a reservoir model can help us to calculate calculation of recoverable volume. So as we know that once we discover the presence of the reservoir or the reservoir, we are not sure that, and it is not common that all of the recoverable, all of the hydrocarbon which we have discovered can be recovered. So there is only a quantity of recoverable hydrocarbon which will be recovered. So also through building a reservoir model, it can help us to know or to calculate the amount of the recoverable hydrocarbons. Also, the intention of creating a reservoir model is for generation of production profile. Also, there is evaluation and generation of depression plan, and as planning tools for detailed placement of production and injection wells. Through having this reservoir model, it can help us to know where we can place our production well or our injection well. So before this technology come up, these oil companies, they used to just guessing that we are going to drill our well here. But once they came up with this kind of technology of creating a reservoir model, it helped most of the oil companies to know exactly where we can place our production well, or where we can place our injection well. Also, there is digital reservoir model. A digital reservoir model may serve different purposes and will typically distinguish between static reservoir and dynamic reservoir. So once we have seen this all objective of creating creating reservoir model, now there are key two types of geological model. We have static reservoir model and we have dynamic reservoir model. So what are these two kind of reservoir model and how do they differ from each other? So stay tuned to our website and you are going to get more about this topic. Thank you very much.